Good day, my name is Willie Jordaan. I'm an attorney in South Africa. In this two-part video is going to be about the EFF that tweeted that the bombs should be placed barely 0.6 miles from the US Embassy in Pretoria, South Africa. Second part of this video will be a video by Mr Willem Petzer and the ANC COSATO, SACP and SANCO supporters who chanted "One bullet, one American" at the US Embassy on 23 January 2020. He also speaks about the Ambassador Lana Marks making a fool of herself because of a tweet that she sent out recently. The video is approximately 20 minutes long in total. Please, I urge you to watch it to the end and remember to share. The more we share, the better our chances of the Trump administration taking note of what is actually going on here in South Africa. I will also put a link to Project Survivor South Africa's YouTube page in the description below. And did you know that Project Survivor South Africa has actually got a TV channel? It's called WMP TV, Words Matter Publishing Television, and it is broadcasted on the ROKU channel internationally. Please visit wmptv.net for Survivor videos that was already broadcasted internationally. I will also put a link in the description. There is a petition calling for the resignation of Ambassador Lana Marks. I ask you to please sign it and also share it. A link is in the description of the video as well. I thank you for watching. Without any further ado, the videos follow now.
Hello guys, Willem Petzer here. So yesterday there was a planned protest in which the ANC, South African Communist Party, COSATO and SANCO were to give a memorandum to the US Embassy and specifically the US Ambassador Lana Marks, in which they expressed their disdain for the US assassinating the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani. Now this protest turned quite a bit south when members of the protest, or actually the leader of the protest, who incidentally is also the leader of the South African Communist Party, started to chant "One American, one bullet," which is basically a version of the "One settler, one bullet" that are usually being chanted in South Africa to threaten the lives of white South Africans. All of this comes right after, just a few days ago, the American Ambassador Lana Marks tweeted out how vibrant the democracy is in South Africa and how wonderful the government of South Africa is. I will read you the exact tweet later in this video. She also went on to Kyknet Verslag with Mr Petzer and also talked about how wonderful South Africa's government is. We will also take a look at that later in this video. First, let's talk about who the South African Communist Party and COSATO is. Now, as you all know, the ANC is the ruling party of South Africa, but when people vote for the ANC, they actually don't vote for just the ANC. They vote for the so-called tripartite alliance, which is the ANC, the South African Communist Party, as well as COSATO, the South African Confederation of Trade Unions. And this is the party that actually rules over South Africa, is the combination of these three. Now, all of these parties put their names onto the memorandum that was given to the US Embassy. Let's take a look at the video where they actually threaten the lives of Americans and wish death upon them. Take a look at them shouting or chanting "One American, one bullet" right here.
Bullet, one American. One bullet, one American. Now, cowards, criticizing indigenous people of the area with the America. They found the story was India.
Mere days before this protest, Lana Marks, the ambassador from the US, tweeted the following on Twitter: "Nowhere has Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy been more visible than in the transformation of South Africa into a vibrant democracy. I consider it a privilege to be here, and I hope my work will always be a testament to his memory." Now let's start by saying that anyone who has a little bit of knowledge about South Africa knows that things are not going well here at the moment. We are the rape capital of the world. We have a significantly high number of murders, 60 per day. The economy has been downgraded to junk status by 2 out of 3 of the credit rating agencies in the world, and the third one downgraded the country to the brink of junk status. The economy is looking down. The growth forecast of the World Bank says that South Africa's growth will be less than 0.8% for the next few years. And things are really not looking up. It's a disaster that's going on here in South Africa. Also, what happened here was that Lana Marks went onto Waldemar Pelser's program on Kyknet Verslag, and said the following about South Africa and its government.
Tomorrow there will be a protest march to the US Embassy, protesting against the strike against Qasem Soleimani in Iran. And of course, South Africa is one of the 10 countries that most often vote against the US, or not with the US at least, at the UN. Yes. What do you make of that?
However, the new response has changed, and that is quite measured compared to previous. So we're very pleased about that.
What kind of change have you seen?
The response has been a lot more measured than it has been in the past.
So a more positive response from Pretoria to the US?
Yes, 100%. And in many respects. And just in the last 2 months that I've been here, I've seen extraordinary friendship across the board with everybody that I've met with. Everybody.
Ambassador, so several Western ambassadors, excluding the US ambassador, this position was not filled, were called to the red carpet last year for confronting President Ramaphosa about some constraints that foreign ambassadors saw in investment in South Africa, problems with corruption, yes, and the slow pace of reform. You have said that you have much faith in President Ramaphosa's reform agenda. Why do you say that you have faith?
I think that he won in a democratic process. I think he surrounded himself with a core of terrific ministers, and I think that augurs well for the future. I understand there's been all kind of rhetoric over the last few days, but I have tremendous faith in him. I really do.
So there you have it. On the one hand, we have this ambassador saying all these very, very nice things about South Africa's government, and literally the next day, the governing party of South Africa and its allies pitch up at the US Embassy and chant for the death of Americans. This just shows you how disconnected America, and especially it seems to be the left in America, is from the realities in South Africa. Now, what happened to this US ambassador here in South Africa over the last days, and when the people pitched up to her embassy to call for basically her death as well as all of the other Americans, is probably the most spectacular way in which anyone has made a fool out of themselves in South Africa for the last decade, I would say. One day you are talking about how vibrant the democracy is here and how wonderful the South African government is, and the next day, this happens. That is South Africa for you. Goodbye and God bless.
Julius Malema's economic freedom fighters threatening to blow up innocent men, women and children during a Christian gathering to be held less than 1 kilometer or 0.6 miles from the US Embassy in Pretoria using limpet mines. My name is Willie Jordaan. I'm an attorney in South Africa, and today's date is the 7th of November 2019. On 30 October 2019, Angus Buchan announced that he will host a gathering called Stand Up for Jesus, or in English, Stand Up for Jesus, at Loftus Versfeld Stadium on 1 February 2020. He is known by many supporters as Angus, or in English, Uncle Angus. Buchan, who is of Scottish descent and he came to South Africa from Zambia in 1976. He does not speak Afrikaans, but he believes that God wants the event to be especially for the Afrikaans people of the nation, and he has decided that initial event publicity will be in Afrikaans. Loftus-Versfeld, the iconic Pretoria home stadium of the Blue Bulls and venue of many Springbok rugby test matches, is indeed an appropriate meeting place for a mass prayer gathering aimed at the Afrikaans community, he said. Now on the screen you will see the publicity, and I'm going to translate it in English for you. God laid it on my heart to hold a gathering called Stand Up for Jesus. It will take place on February 1, 2020 at Loftus-Versfeld Stadium, Pretoria. The purpose of the gathering is to encourage Christians to stand up and be counted. We and our country are in trouble. If we seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, the Bible tells us that all things will be added to us. I firmly believe in the Bible verse, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in His name, He is present. Angus Buchan is well known in South Africa and internationally for his mass prayer meetings, and he always draws huge crowds of people. Just look at the following pictures taken at some of his past prayer events. It is expected that his 1 February 2020 gathering will fill the Loftus Stadium with ease. Loftus has a seating capacity for at least 51,700 people. That excludes standing space available. Loftus-Versfeld is situated less than 0.6 miles from the US Embassy in Pretoria, South Africa. For those that don't know, Pretoria's new name is Tshwane. Now, Economic Freedom Fighter Secretary General Godrich Gardee expressed the view on 6 November 2019, that's yesterday, that limpet mines should be planted at an upcoming event at Loftus-Versfeld Stadium in Tshwane, held by Pastor Angus Buchan. Now, of course, the Secretary General of the EFF is referring to the gathering of Angus Buchan that will be held on 1 February 2020. Now, here is the tweet. That stadium needs some limpet mines, body trapped around it prior to that date. And let's see what happens to the only people who have a covenant with God. And I know this Boer religious fanatic is misrepresenting the Jewish nation. He must be banned from our TV screens. And that was on a tweet of Floyd Shivambu, who referred to the prayer meeting of Angus Buchan in the Loftus Rugby Stadium, February 2020. Now, limpet mines are usually used in the Navy, but also used by Umkhonto weSizwe during the apartheid era. Umkhonto weSizwe is the military wing of the governing ANC party in South Africa. They were used to blow up many places and innocent people in South Africa, from the Johannesburg Magistrates Court to police stations all over South Africa, as well as restaurants. For a list of MK operations, please visit this page and see for yourself. Now, what is the definition of terrorism? According to Oxford Dictionary, a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. What is the definition of terrorism? A surprise attack involving the deliberate use of violence against civilians in the hope of attaining political or religious aims. Examples: September 11, the day in 2001 when Arab suicide bombers hijacked United States airliners and used them as bombs. The calculated use of violence or the threat of violence against civilians in order to attain goals that are political or religious or ideological in nature. This is done through intimidation, or coercion or instilling fear. What does the United States Code say about terrorism? The United States Code, Title 22, Chapter 38, Section 2656 FD2 defines terrorism as premeditated, politically motivated violence perpetrated against non-combatant targets by subnational groups or clandestine agents. It is also a way for the terrorists to get publicity for their causes. What is NATO's definition of terrorism? North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or also known as NATO, defines terrorism in the AAP 06 NATO Glossary of Terms and Definition, edition 2014, as the unlawful use or threatened use, unlawful use or threatened use of violence or violence against individuals or property in an attempt to coerce or intimidate governments or societies to achieve political, religious, or ideological objectives. The EFF is well known for enticement to commit violence against the white minority in South Africa. Amongst other things, their leader Julius Malema singing their well-known and characteristic song, Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer. And it's sung during public meetings, or as you people in the United States refer to it as rallies. This happens at an ongoing basis, and it is sung at every single rally or meeting of the EFF by Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF. Julius Malema also threatened to call for the slaughtering of white people during an interview with TRT World during June 2019. The interview was followed a tweet by Julius Malema of the EFF. Just look at this video and decide for yourself.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies. Cry babies.
I'm not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
I can't give a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now.
What does the word slaughter mean? According to the Oxford Dictionary, kill people or animals in a cruel or violent way, typically in large numbers. Now, although he added, not for now, he also added that he cannot guarantee the future. During March 2019, the South African Human Rights Commission dismissed a hate speech complaint issued by the F.W. de Klerk Foundation and directed at EFF leader Julius Malema about his slaughter remarks. In The Citizen on 15 March 2019, the headline of the article read, Malema's white people slaughter comments, not hate speech, according to the South African Human Rights Commission. And then the article reads the following. Malema was accused of hate speech after saying he and his party were not calling for the slaughtering of white people, at least for now. The South African Human Rights Commission found that the comment did not constitute hate speech and that it did not violate the rights of white people. The F.W. de Klerk Foundation has since responded in a statement accusing the South African Human Rights Commission of having brushed aside the truly chilling implication that Malema might call for the slaughter of white people at some later stage. His words, by his own admission, also constituted incitement to cause harm. Does the South African Human Rights Commission really think that the illegal occupation of the land of white farmers could be achieved without causing them harm. The statement then goes into the United Nations definition of genocide, saying Malema's comment verges on advocacy of genocide at some future date. The threat of bombing thousands of innocent Christian women, men and children to oblivion is their call to start slaughtering white people. EFF leader Julius Malema, EFF Secretary General Godrich Gardee and the EFF should be classified as terrorists and the EFF as a terrorist organization immediately. For those that don't know, the EFF is a political party represented in the South African Parliament. They are part of the government governing South Africa. Currently, they occupy 44 seats in the House, and they are currently the third largest political party in South Africa. The instruction or threat to blow up an event barely 0.6 miles from the US Embassy should be treated as a terrorist threat, not only towards the white minority of South Africa, but also as an international terrorist threat against the United States of America. Will the United States allow this possible threat towards their own working at the US Embassy? Will the United States accept this risk to their newly appointed ambassador, Ambassador Lana Marks? Will the world allow this possible threat to a minority Christian nation in South Africa? Our government is silent about all the above. The EFF were not even given a slap on the wrist. The inference can be drawn that the ANC government of South Africa is okay with it. How many limpet minds does the leadership of the EFF possess? How many is in the hands of their followers? Seems that the ongoing slaughtering of farmers in South Africa isn't fast enough. Bombs and limpet mines might speed up the process in South Africa with an accelerated effect to achieve the end goal of genocide of a minority nation in South Africa. And still the world is silent. Thank you for watching.